Okay. Welcome back to my channel, and we're here with Father Phantom Studio.
Hi, hello.
Uh, let's see. I know Katarina from Facebook, just interacting with her, and your name is, please?
I'm Laura.
Laura.
Yes,
And then we're going to have, I guess, Ben come in
we can.
off and on, maybe.
Busy Ben. The mysterious Ben, yeah, he might pop in at some point.
Okay, so according to this, Father Phantom Studio, uh, special effects and collectibles. That's pretty cool. So you're UK based, and it says here that it was co-founded by in 2015 by Ben. How does he pronounce his last name? Falaz.
Falaise.
Falaise.
Yeah.
Did I get it right? And you being Laura, are you the Laura Duran that's listed here?
That's
So
me.
you're one of the so you're one of the co-founders. That's awesome. Okay. Now how does Katerina fit in the picture? She
So
Ben,
Ben and I met in 2014, late 2014, through work on a film. So that's when we, after a lot of discussion, finding Ben sending me his ideas, me getting on board. The studio really started in 2015, and we had a
right?
few years together with the studio. And then in 2017, that's when Kat came in. We were at the time having some trials with the local university to get help from students on the basis of exchange of. We give them a bit of knowledge, they come and help with work. And it was, it wasn't going so hot with everyone. And then Kat came in, and there was
never left.
yeah, she never left. Spark there of she was the first one we had that really got. We said something, she got it, she got on with it, and she done really well. So we were
Oh, awesome.
okay. This is really cool. I think this could be a fun member of the team. But before we even discussed that, she had a set of keys somehow, and then she never left. It just happened very organically.
It's like you're not getting rid of me.
Exactly. That was exactly that.
And yeah, that's kind of
She's
how
been
it
there ever
started.
since, really. Yeah.
Huh. That's pretty cool. So what spurred the studio on? Just kind of like circumstances were difficult, and you wanted an easier way to do like special effects, or work together, or how does that work? Was it
So,
like
as far as
oh,
forming the studio, you mean coming together to make a studio?
mm-hmm,
Um,
mm-hmm,
so Ben, he's been known in the collectible world since about 2010, 2011, when
okay,
he started painting masks, and people really liked what he was doing. So without him really wanting, anything to happen, people were sending him collectibles to paint, and he really kind of snowballed from there for him. And at the
oh,
same time, he got into special effects for film, which really is another one of his passion. And back then, around 2013, that's when I really became a professional in special effects, started working. And so when
okay,
in 2014, it was through special effects, and we realized we have lots of things in common. We have a common vision as well as what special effects are, what we would want, how we want to create character. The route we want to take was all very similar. So we decided to team up then, more because it's quite unusual to find someone you work with really well and that has the same idea as yours. Uh,
mm-hmm,
so we teamed up, and at that time, Ben was like, "Well, listen, there's also all this collectible stuff that I'm finding there's a lot of work to do, and it's really enjoyable, and I'm passionate about the films, about the items. So would you be into that?" That's something I didn't really know a lot. I come more from an art and cinema background, but since I got in, it just it became a passion also, and somehow, without really us stirring it in any given direction, the collectible really became
Took
big.
over.
Yeah, it became a big thing. People love what we did, so naturally we kind of went into that direction as well. And in the
okay,
meantime, we film. We're kind of old school. We love practical effects and everything, and that was coming out of fashion a bit at the time. So because of the collectible, we could select a bit more what we were doing with film, and really do projects that we enjoy, that we were passionate about, rather than just taking a job for a job. So it's a really cool balance because we can still do special effects, which we're passionate about, before the right projects, while we just have a blast creating all these cool pieces that we also know people enjoy a lot and they have it at home.
Yeah, with our busts, we're kind of our own bosses, and we don't stop until we're satisfied. So you don't have a director or someone telling you,
Quitting time.
do this. We have this many minutes. You know, sometimes if he needs few more days, he needs few more days, and then it's perfect.
So it became, it started with special effects. More, it wasn't a need to team up, but it just happened. Two people meet and they have the same vision, and it's great. And then a few years later, Kat came in, and we didn't think it was really possible. There was a third person there that had exactly the same vision, the same passion, the same want to do things the same way. So the team kind of, it wasn't, nothing really made us want to do it, but it just happened every time.
There was never any sort of interviews or anything. It just happened.
She had her own keys, so she just walked in.
So, and it's really good because I think that way, because we never teamed up as a professional need or anything like that. It was more because we really liked each other and because we liked each other's mind, how we think, how we do things together. We work really well, and we can be stuck in the same room for 12 hours, 7 days.
And we still didn't kill each other.
We just
so
it worked out really well.
It doesn't get too bad where it's like, I'm hungry. There's no time. It doesn't go that route, right? Do you guys like order out food and then just kind of bring it in and then just while working, or you guys break for lunch or dinner?
No, we do take break, but it's to the point we cook for each other even, so we're like family.
Well.
Well, that's awesome. Okay. I've got a list of, it looks like, I'm going to guess, films. There's London Heist.
Yeah.
Is that a film?
So that's a film that it was back in 2015, I believe it came out. So that was more of it's a typical British gangster film.
Okay.
That we done some special effects for.
Cane Hill.
And then you've got Cane Hill, which is a really cool little British independent horror film. It's really gritty. We've done some really cool effects for that. It's a cool little horror film. And that is Oaks, which in America I think is actually known as a Soldier of War. It's got a different title.
Oh, okay. So I should, if I go on Amazon, should I look for Ox or Soldier of War, or does it matter?
Last time I looked, they both came up.
Okay.
The both names.
And
that
then
was quite a good as well.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Just a really cool horror film as well. We created the main character for.
Okay. Make Do or Mend.
So that was actually quite funnily enough, is one of the first things Kat done with us.
Oh, here we go. And she shakes her head.
You know, when you do something at the beginning, you always progress. So when you look back, you're like, oh, could have done so much better.
She says that, but however, that's the film we got an award for.
For awesome.
And effects. So that was pretty good. It was a 48-hour challenge film. So basically everything has to be done in 48 hours. So that was not a lot.
Script had to be written,
everything,
filmed, everything.
It was really cool though. We came up with some really cool thing, and I think that was a good introduction for Kat to get into the madness of the job.
Not sleeping for 48 hours.
Oh, wow. So there's also music videos listed. These are coming off your website. Diamond Black, The Scarlet.
Yes, so that's one of the latest. The Vice and Prescription Happiness, they all kind of, even metal or rock bands.
Right.
And
that was more of a makeups thing?
Yes, so we work with so often the same team and the same director that calls us back, because we've got a good understanding of what they like.
Oh, awesome. Mm-hmm.
Sort of weird, very gritty, a bit fantasy-like, quite dark, and we get to create some really cool makeup for that. And
we've actually done an advert not long ago with the same director. That was really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so of course you can look behind me here. This is Exorcist reviews. So of course on Facebook and I think Instagram. I've seen a lot of your work with the. I guess you're calling it the Captain Howdy.
Yeah.
Captain Howdy. Yeah, it's very detailed, and everybody keeps recommending that I purchase that, and I can't help but come back to it all the time. I mean, wow, look at the detail on this. It's amazing. I wanted to kind of bring that into the picture because we're going to probably revisit Captain Howdy here shortly, but I wanted to kind of cover some of the other stuff that you do, because I don't want to just keep it on focused on Captain Howdy. But yeah, some of these images are pretty awesome. I still don't have a spot for her yet, and so I might ask you about this, how the size and whatnot here later. But I wanted to cover some of the busts that you have. Who focuses mostly on the busts? Is that Ben?
No, that's me.
Oh, awesome. So, are you the Captain Howdy person?
Yeah,
She
that's
is.
right.
Oh, she's the Captain Howdy person.
So,
Okay.
well, how
Let's see.
about just with a bit of history on the birth, I guess.
Yeah.
Is when I met Ben back in 2014, and when we really started to talk about the collectible side of things in 2015. She was already there, so Ben was adamant there needed to be a Regan MacNeil bust in what we made, and it often came to time because we had a few things we'd already started, and they were becoming really popular, so we had lots of order.
Oh, I can believe it.
Quite the time to bring her in, but month after month, year after year, it was always there will be a Regan MacNeil in our collection because Ben, being in the collectible world for quite a long time, and even before he started working in it, he's been collecting himself. He never seen a bust that really had everything to him that it was like, yeah, that's it, that's her.
It's the essence.
There was a lot of cool busts. There's obviously the live cast. But he was like, yeah, I think we can bring something to the Exorcist table. And
Oh, definitely. That is, like I said, that is something I want to kind of cover after. There's going to be, I want to kind of go through a few things before we get back to Regan, because I'm going to be talking about Regan, but I also want to kind of open it up to anyone else that's watching this who wants it. I don't want to focus just on Regan, and that's why I got. Can we call him Pennywise?
Yeah.
Okay, it's okay to call him Pennywise. Okay. So when did you start doing the Pennywise bus? Is that after the It movie came out, or was there even an earlier one that had the Tim Curry image?
I haven't got Tim Curry, but basically when the first film new installment, the new version came out, we were actually quite impressed because new horror films sometimes for us anyway, they're a bit hit and miss, and we thought that was a really good movie, and the character design was both extremely simple and extremely complicated at the same time. They gave him that childlike face, but at the same time it was really, really creepy, and there was some really scary moments. We really liked it, and I remember we actually started sculpting the first version ahead of the film with very little photos to go by. And at the time we started working with the uni, I just finished the very first burst and I took it with me. So one of the very first things I worked on when she came on board was actually Pennywise's hair. And after seeing her do it, we're like, oh yeah, okay, she can do it like I do. I think we're gonna keep her. So that was, he's been around for a while, and he's a really cool bust that we really enjoy making. So this is the second version now.
The detail in this photo right here is pretty wow. It almost looks like it's the actor wearing the makeup when you come up close to it.
We always try to, as well as making a really cool bust, we always try to take really good photos before we send to the customers. Also because with orders, we don't have anything that hangs around with us, so we don't get to keep it. We don't really even have time to make our own. We still don't have our own Pennywise or our own Regan.
Even that Regan going to France.
Yeah, seen her in the back there. Back on this photo though, it's almost like anytime I'm looking at this, I'm always catching something new. Now, one of the striking things that caught my attention was the eyes, especially. and I want to kind of cover that when we go back to the Reagan bust. But I just noticed, is there blood dripping from his lip?
So this one is
He's got like a little droplet or something hanging from his lip, it looks like.
yeah, it can look like blood or like drool. On this one is drool.
Oh,
With the red under it, it kind of looks bloody, which is also really
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
What we love to do as well is, because at the moment they're made to order, we customize them. So some people are like, oh, could you do a bloody version? And so we can do a bloody version, and instead of drool is blood, and there's even more, there's less. But we like to do all these little details. And what you said, I'm really glad you said it, because that's one thing with Ben that he's always been about, and I guess he passed on to us, is you want people to look at it once and see something, and then the second time they'll see more.
Mm-hmm.
And the third time they'll see more.
Definitely.
We don't want people to get tired or to be like, well, I've seen everything now. We want it to be something that every time they come back, like, oh my God, I didn't notice that. So it's really you picked up on it.
Definitely. It's like looking at his cheek, you can see the break in his makeup.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like if it was a real person and you'd get that makeup that just, you know, no longer is kind of hitting there.
Yeah.
But I think that's a awesome detail. The teeth are awesome. There was one thing I wanted to ask about this. Has anyone ever asked for a Pennywise with like the eye offset? You know how like the actor can do that?
So we always offset them a bit, and it's more, you can see it more when he's looking
straight at you.
But
oh, okay, sort of.
Asking for, like, can you do it even more? And then of course we can.
Oh yeah. Oh, there's that eye again. Man, that's crazy.
So we make our own eyes in the studio as well. So each bust has its own eye.
Because there's 2 different versions of eyes as well, depending on what customer wants. So
okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you know, we have a.
Okay, who's working on this here?
That's Laura.
One of the first things I noticed when I saw this photo was he looks kind of like Jack Nicholson.
Oh, he does.
Yeah, he does.
He does.
like he's gonna start talking about Danny.
Shining or something.
Maybe
he starts going all shining on you or something. He just has that look. Oh, that's interesting. That I bring that up. Has anyone ever asked for a Jack Torrance bust?
We've actually been asked once or twice for a Jack Torrance bust.
Wow, I didn't see any photos of that, and maybe some point in the video I could post that if you have any. That would be awesome just to see that. But yeah, that was one of the first things, and it almost looked like it's going to look back at you and talk to you while you're working on it.
We try to get that kind of life into them, so you're not sure.
Yeah, it's actually when we install the eyes, that takes quite a lot of time. It might sound quite simple, just put the eyes in. But
oh no, it didn't look like it in some of these photos.
When they look like they're right, we usually keep on going, because it's that one moment, that one spark that you get when the bust actually looks at you, and then you're like, yeah, that's it, that's what we want.
Okay, what can we call this one where we won't get in trouble? Can we still, what Arnie? Do you have a name for this one?
You can call him Arnie. He's obviously the Terminator, yeah.
You can still use Terminator?
So,
wow, this one, it's like, is this more like a T2 version?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. This is awesome. I noticed that on the eye. In some shots that it's the eye isn't on. So do these come with like the option to turn it on or off?
So it's a battery. We do with a battery powered box, and you can turn the eye on and off.
That's amazing. The work is just amazing on this. And if I remember right, the bust itself, does it have like it's like all the way down to the chest where there's damage, right?
Yes, we've got a little part of the top of the chest with the chrome showing and all the mangled bits around.
Yeah, the first you showed is just the head that some customer, they like to mount it on a mannequin, so they kind of make a life-size display. But most of them do come with, well, depending on the preference of the customer, but most of them are the chest.
They're the chest, and then we do another version with full shoulders as well. So we kind of try to accommodate, because having collecting ourselves, we know space is of the essence. Then there's also preferences. Some people like a nice V, very smart tapered bust. Someone, because it's Arnold, wants something really big shoulders.
Has anyone ever asked for the that scene where he cuts his arm open and pulls the skin off? Has anyone ever asked for that? It's like it's just the exposed mechanical hand.
That's a different thing, because that's almost a model, in itself.
Mm-hmm.
Have people who have had the hands, so either they sent it to Ben for chroming and finishing, or if they've had it already painted, they mount it to a life-size mannequin with our head on it. And that's always really cool to see, because by the end, it's a big project, and by the end with the head on, it looks like Arnold's in the
Right.
Really cool.
Wow. That work is really, it just stands out. Is there any different versions of the Terminator
Yes. So
bust? Does he have like a full face, or is it always the exposed face?
at the moment, it's just the exposed face, but
Okay.
then offers a lot of different paints. So a lot of people, some of them like it really bloody, some of them like that slightly burnt effect around the wound. Some people want the endoskeleton really clean because the chrome's really nice. But some
Right.
other people are like, no, he's dragged on the road, he's been hit by a truck, really scratched, I want it dirty, I want blood on it. So all of that is something that we're quite proud of as well, because we discuss that with people, we ask them what they prefer, and we can make them a bit unique, which we think is also really cool.
Now I'm going to kind of, just with that exposure, and I notice it kind of happens with this Mr. Kruger here.
Yes.
I thought that was crazy. I really don't remember in any of the movies where his face is exposed like that. Is that something you came up with, or is there a movie that has him where you can actually see his face exposed, the skeletal part?
Part 2 at the end is with all the pipes around him, and it just starts melting.
Okay.
It's such a cool, and in the film, it's such a cool scene that we thought, you know what, there's a lot of, and that's something we try to do as well. We try to be a little bit different when we can. Okay, and in that instant, Ben was like, yeah, okay, there's some really good Freddy Kruegers out there. What have we not seen yet? And then we thought of that scene, and we're like, yeah, that is when you want.
That's just crazy.
Gruesome. Let's do that.
Wow.
And another one of Ben's idea that was spot on, because people just love that.
Just looking at this one, it looks like just unexpectedly he could start talking.
Yeah. Yeah, he's very dynamic, isn't he?
Yeah, he's very dynamic.
Oh yeah. And then you can see how like there's like the moisture there around where that is just wild. I think I got another shot of that here somewhere here. There we go.
I like this one.
There we go. Wow. Yeah, I had to put that in there. That's like, wow. It's just amazing. So who would you say is the main person that worked on that one?
So Freddy, sadly, we don't do him anymore, because he was our very first bust. And we thought he's kind of lived this time, and we'd like to revisit him in a different form, a bit bigger, and in our eyes better later on. But this one was really a joint effort at the time between me and Ben. So we would do something on it that we, each of us done really well.
Wow.
And it was a joint effort, this one.
Here we're gonna go forward here. And I saw these are pretty amazing.
So these, I mean, we'll see if you want to go back to that later, but that ties to another side of the business where we've not made that, but someone has sent us their pieces.
Oh, okay.
They basically want us to work on them. So either it's in need of repaint and sometimes hair simply, or sometimes in need of a full-blown repair because bits are falling off, or because in the case of this one, it's missing the dome and someone would like to see the dome back as well.
Okay, so this is kind of like a more of a repair.
Yeah.
A repair item. And I think you do that with the masks as well.
Yeah.
And I think in the sculpts too.
Yeah, so we basically can do pretty much anything. The masks and all the latex-based stuff, that's mainly Ben's area, because he's mastered that to a T, and he can rebuild the mask out of nowhere. Even to us, it's like magic. And then when it comes to repairing hard stuff that I've broken, I'm becoming quite good at that. It's
Yeah.
something I like to do. Cat jumps on it, really good with the paint too. So it's, on that, it's a joint effort between everyone, and we all have our strong sides.
Right.
We like a challenge as well. So we, when someone's like, yeah, either I've been told it can't be fixed, or I don't think that's fixable, we're like, okay,
Challenge
bring it on.
accepted.
So, does your studio have their version of this xenomorph?
Nope,
Not yet. Not yet, or just hasn't come up yet.
It's not come up. It's not something that we have in the work at the moment. Although it's a character that's dear to us all.
Yeah.
It's an awesome piece, though, and hopefully, somebody. I'm hoping someone requests it, and you're able to come up with it, because I thought this was pretty amazing. I was going to ask if you could mount it to the wall like it's like a trophy, but okay, so this is a repair.
That's
Okay,
right.
awesome. And then, okay, how about the I think is a T-Rex?
That's right.
This was a sculpt as well.
So that's Buck is
There he is.
behind. This one's going to go to Germany soon.
Oh, okay.
He's been freshly painted. Laura's been working on him up until 30 minutes before we started talking to you.
So this one's a build, and it's not a repair, right?
No, this one is the one
Request.
it's from Stan Winston's Dinosaurs for the Lost World, the second installment of the Jurassic Park franchise. And he's been with us for quite a while. He's an item that we've had for a long time, 2015.
Wow.
And he's one that gets better with time because techniques, more time on it, and everything. So he's a really cool piece to have because the paint's so intricate. Every time we discover new thing, we're getting new ways to do him. And
yeah, I think every single time you paint a new one, it's better and better and better, because Laura always, the more you look, the more you discover, the more you find. The same like you mentioned with the Pennywise jewel and everything else. You notice is the same that we notice on, for example, Stan's work.
It's one of the things that we try to do as well. Is it's not a case of we find a paint that works and we stick with it. Yeah, Regan,
awesome.
The same. They're all the same. We always think, okay, either that's not good enough or that could be better, or we notice something new that's more interesting. We just keep on trying to make them better because we know people have seen them for a while, and also know people are waiting for them. We don't want them to just get used to seeing the same thing again and again. So we really strive to every time make something better. Even if it takes a bit more time, we'll do it just because we want to go that extra step. We want people to have the best that we can do, basically, for everything.
Okay, so this is going to Germany, you said?
The one behind me is,
Oh, okay. I mean, this one, the one in the photo, looks like it just came right off the set of one of the Jurassic movies.
Thank you. Yeah, we try to take photos as well because they're such nice pieces. You know, to give them a little photo shoot every time. Yeah.
So it said this one is as big as that one that you have behind you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's right. So
I had a question about this one.
Sure.
This looks like okay, I'm gonna guess, well, obviously it's Heath Ledger, right? Now, this is before the Joker makeup, or did somebody request them as, is this a mask or is this a bust?
So that's a sculpt. That's still in clay.
Oh, it's a sculpt. Okay.
Yeah. We've been working on it for a while. And again, it's one of them because it's only 3 of us and we each do our bust, and we've got a lot of work, and sculpts sadly sometimes take, the back saddle for a moment. And so we don't have time to work on sculpt as much as we want. And sometimes we go back to a sculpt we were really happy with, and by then we're like, okay, that can be better. So we do it again. So if it's a bit of a case of that, he is going to be a bust. We have a multitude of ideas, but we want to make sure we get the sculpt right. So he's still a sculpt at the moment. He's still in this.
So he's a work in progress then.
That's right.
Yes.
He's a work in progress. When you look at something like this and you're working on it, do you hear the voice of the character in your head, like it's going to bust out and start talking to you?
We try. I think it's different when you're working on it because sculpting is such a fine-tuned art, and it's sometimes frustrating because if you change something, you need to be sure it's just right. Otherwise, it's done, and you have to do it again. So there's an element. It's work. It's not as much. So often we don't see him as a character yet. We're like, oh, that's not right, and it's work.
Sometimes we just see him as a lip.
Later on. Okay, this is giving us the vibe, and we can start hearing voice, and there's a lot of work.
I can look at this and just imagine all kinds of things happening. Just sitting there, and all of a sudden he starts talking. Am I able to talk now? So, this was interesting. How big is this? This is a mini bust.
Yes, so that
right of Hannibal the Cannibal.
That's right. It was
in the show.
It wasn't very big, and again, that was sent to us just as a gray piece of resin, and the customer came up with his ideas. So we discussed. He showed us the suit he wanted, the pattern, the colors, talk a bit about the face, the antlers, everything, and then we kind of try to bring their vision to life as best we can. And then they make awesome displays like that, and it turns out.
No, it looks amazing.
That's an amazing
piece. Yeah, I can imagine that being, set up. That's just amazing.
Turned out really nice.
And then this lead into the sculpts here. I noticed there's a lot of dinosaurs in your sculpts.
There are quite a lot of dinosaurs. I'm a bit of a dinosaur nerd. Ben is also. And this one is one of them that came to us, broke into 1 million pieces.
Oh, okay.
So someone wanted basically that Stegosaurus repainted. They were in the UK, so we're like, yeah, absolutely fine. There won't be any problem. And sadly, it came up in 1 million pieces. We don't know why. One of these.
I'm not going to even ask how long it took to repair this.
So it's another case where the customer was like, well, if you can't do anything with it, and we're like, no, wait, we'll do something. And
luckily, it was just the material that it was used to make. So it's not like it's very often that the pieces get broken. No. It was just the poor choice of the material.
And the material was very fragile. The courier wasn't very careful. But it's also a good example that we won't give up on anything as much as we can. Just try to save it.
And I think let's see if I get the. And is this the same piece after?
The finished piece.
Wow. It's amazing. What is the what is it standing on? Is that a separate?
It had a little base, yeah. So sometimes they come with a base, but sometimes we've also been asked to make a base for something.
Right. In this case, did you have to make a base or make a base?
With it.
But you did add some texture on it, didn't you?
No, I think this one there was a bit of paint fixing, but we can make base as well if we need to.
Oh, okay. And then there's this one here. It's got your logo on it.
There's another one. This was a kit, an old kit to build. Someone sent to build and paint as well.
Okay. Well, the painting looks amazing.
Thank you.
Definitely. It looks like it just came right off of it looks like it right off of the set of Jurassic Park or Jurassic World.
Of collaboration on the dinosaur with Ben because he's got an amazing eyes for paint and what's going to make things look organic. So we've got a lot of back and forth. So even if I'm painting them most of the time, I get his input on the paint because he's got a very keen eye for that.
This one is it fairly freestanding or is it set on that base?
No, this one's freestanding. So this one.
So you could pick it up and he'll stand on the table if he's got that balance.
It was well balanced.
Yeah, that looks like it is. That's why I was asking about that. Yeah. And then, oh wow, this is amazing.
Thank you.
How large is that piece there?
So they're maquettes, and they're from the Stan Winston maquettes, which is amazing. People again send us the kits to build.
Right. Okay.
From Stan Winston's maquette, and
so a lot of these aren't scratch; they're like kits.
Yeah. So they're
okay.
Sometimes cleaned, primed, kind of put together, filled when the edges are.
How does someone do that when they send you a kit? They just kind of start off with, "I can't do this."
Some people are like, "Okay,
will you please help me?"
Sometimes, most often than not, it's just, "I love this. I'm not into this. Can you do it for me because I want the finished thing?
Yeah.
And you know,
You've got the skill set.
that's right.
There you go. And then I saw this one, and I'm thinking it's either going to be, I'm guessing Goku or Gohan from Dragon Ball.
Dragon Ball. Interesting, this one. Sadly, now we don't have as much time to do that, but that was a full-on commission when someone came and said, okay, I want you to draw it, sculpt it, cast
Yeah.
it. So that's a commission from the ground up. We start with a drawing, kind of go back and forth, sculpt it, mold it, finish it.
Do you get a lot of Dragon Ball requests,
No, that
or
was
is that something just once in a while, or when it was like at its height, maybe?
that was the only one. I don't know really where or how, but the guy was like, "Yeah, I want you to do this." I'm like, okay. And
Because I was curious on if anyone had asked for one where he's like charging up and going Super Saiyan, you know,
no,
where his hair gets blonde or whatever color it's going to be, and you see like the beams coming up and all that.
yeah, no, not that one. That's the only one we've been asked to do, but it was quite fun.
And then there's the Spawn
Yeah, that was a
character.
commission. I think that was the very first sculpting commission we got around the time you came.
Yeah,
in.
yeah. He was around when I first came. Yeah, I remember.
And that was
Wow.
really cool because the guy was like, okay, so I'll give you all the elements I want, and then you can draw it, which we did, and we made this one. And then he came back a bit later and said, okay, could you paint it like my version? If I was Spoon with different colors and a few different bits, could you make that? So because we still had the mold for that for him, we did it as well. So there's two of
Oh,
them.
that is awesome.
That was
Mhm.
more
So is the cape, that's totally separate?
Yeah,
Ad?
I made separate, but then it was permanently put on.
Okay. Wow.
Right.
That
So
is
one of a kind.
amazing work. And then this one is from Kingdom Hearts. I'm not familiar with the character.
No,
But
it
you
was
can totally tell because of the feet, because for some reason the Kingdom Heart characters have those really big feet.
again. I think it was literally 6 months, a year time. We had a lot of little commissions like that, which were really cool to do. And sadly now we don't really have time to do them anymore. But I'm really glad we did because it's something different. It was really enjoyable. And
I like your base where you've got like the Kingdom Heart symbol on the base. That's pretty awesome.
yeah, that's all customers' idea, and then we work with them, kind of direct them into what could work, what wouldn't work.
That is nice. How tall? Do you remember how tall that stands?
This one, it was probably this big.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's a good size one then.
It was a
Yeah.
good size.
And then I'm moving on to the masks now. Now this is the what do you refer to this one as?
So that's Brandon James from the MTV series of Scream.
Okay, so you can call it can you call it Ghostface or no?
But, we never called him Ghostface because to us he's not so much. He's not Ghostface really. He's not the traditional.
He's like the other version. Was it came out like in 2000? I want to say 14, maybe 16.
14 through maybe to 16. And it's one of them that, again, Ben saw and he was like, yeah, I don't know if we're going to like that, but I think that will take off. Start sculpting.
And so how did it go? Is there a lot of requests for this one in particular?
There was a lot. I think we've had 3 versions of this one because the first one we sculpted with literally the 2 promotional photos that were out there at the time.
Mm-hmm.
It turned out to be not quite right. We had a second version, realized we're not quite happy after selling a few of those, so made a third version now. This is the third version. And I think, in total, there's a few hundreds of them out there.
He was, if I'm correct, the first one of our pieces that we've made over hundreds.
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
So we've gone over the hundreds.
So what kind of material are you using for like just the masks? So like in this case, it's probably something like a shell.
This one is it's made out of laminated resin, so it's very strong, but it's really light. So once it's flat, it's quite comfortable to wear, but you don't. It's really really light, and it's really strong as well. So it can take a
nice. That's awesome. And then there's I guess you're calling it Halloween mask.
Yeah, and of those, we've got the ones that are sent for repaint and rehair. Which I think was the case for this one. Yeah, and there's so many different versions as well for paint. There's a lot of fun to be had there. But these are more of Ben as well. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I had a question about that. Are we able to talk about the Haddonfield nightmare or no?
Yeah, I
Because
think
I was kind of curious on which one of these masks were used in the film
for
for the fan film.
uh-huh. Well, okay.
Oh, I think it's coming.
Ben's
Ben's
coming.
coming. You know that. There we go. Ben is our master of Halloween masks. So
I heard masks. That's what I
He heard mask and then came in.
How you doing? You okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. Do I look sick? I'm kidding. No, I had a question about, okay, I noticed that there's this mask,
Yeah.
the Halloween mask, and then you have another one. I haven't quite gotten into it yet, but I was curious which one was used in the Haddonfield Nightmare. I haven't seen the film, but I have seen it advertised on your site in a couple spots.
Yeah. So the Haddonfield Nightmare mask was a retool, and essentially what a retool is when we start with a pre-existing sculpt,
Right.
and then we just modify it slightly. So we took one of our existing sculpts, and then I modified it to make it look much more aged. I stretched the face a little bit, distorted a lot of the features.
So would it be this one?
Nope.
Nope.
If you keep going, I'm not sure.
I don't know if I had that because I did grab some. I wasn't sure which ones are which. Now this one's just. I know it's way different than what I had in the other two photos. So was this a custom request?
Yeah, that was
wasn't. This one isn't the one they used in the fan film.
no.
So this is the one. I could see where it's got like the damage on it a little bit. Yeah.
What I done is I opened the mouth a little bit, dented it a lot, so it really had that aged and look.
Yeah, it looks like it's got a big crack in where the mouth is.
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Because what I was trying to do is, for me, because the Haddonfield Nightmare was a sequel to the 7th film of the Halloween series.
The H2O one.
H2O, yeah. So when I retooled this, I took a lot of inspiration from the first film,
Mm-hmm.
the 1978 one. And one of the things that makes the first film, the look of the mask, so freaky, was that it was distorted. So
Right.
then I tried to incorporate that kind of look of distortion with this one, and then hence there's a lot more dense wrinklage in there. You can see that it's more distorted, as opposed to be looking very pristine, normal.
Crazy. Do you know if that film has come out?
It did come out. Yeah, it did come out. Where you can watch it now, I'm not too sure.
I'm gonna have to look for it. I guess I'm sure somebody's got it listed somewhere.
It was last Halloween it come out.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was
Okay.
released last
About the
Halloween.
same time. About the same time. What? This year or last year?
Last year.
Last year.
yeah.
Last year. Okay, so it'd be like same time around when the last Blumhouse one came out, correct?
Yes.
Yes, actually it was.
No,
Yeah.
Actually, guys, I think it's 2021. Actually.
I saw the trailer. It was March 2021.
Time flies too quick for us. So
You know,
But I don't know if the movie came out. Obviously, I don't know if the movie came out in 2021. But
with the name, you'd be able to find it somewhere.
yeah, that shouldn't be hard. Now was this in the film or is this a request? I think that came off of the it's like a Halloween.
So okay, so that one is a prop head replica from the
Oh, okay, so it's not a mask.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, because it looks like it could be a mask.
Yeah, so that's from a scene in the 2018 Halloween.
Oh, okay. Yep. Okay.
Basically, in the scene, a police officer gets his head cut off and
Hmm.
Carved like a pumpkin.
carved like a pumpkin.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I could see it big time.
So
But just in the way it was made, it looks like it could have been a mask.
Uh-huh.
yeah,
Big time.
it was made by it's a mass-produced copy.
Oh.
That was then that you can just buy in the store, and then
Oh, okay.
it was sent to us to be trim out the eye holes, etc. And then we punched in real human hair and painted it much more realistic looking.
So it's kind of like accentuated.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, yeah.
Okay, so you also do that then, right? Okay. Well, which makes sense because if you're doing kits and you're painting and doing repair, you can do this as well. Do you get a lot of those
Oh yeah.
where you're like doing something like this with this head?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that comes up a lot.
Wow. Okay. Now this I thought was pretty interesting. I guess there was an event that was going on. Is this part of this? It was like a thriller event.
Yeah. So basically, in London West End, there's
Mhm.
a Michael Jackson show called Thriller.
Is that like annual?
No, it's
Oh, yeah.
all the
Time.
it's on all the time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's a musical.
Yeah.
It's a musical show, basically.
It's our version of Broadway. Like, yeah. So
Oh, all right. Well, I'm gonna have to look for that. I don't suppose I could find that on YouTube, but I don't think anybody.
Yeah,
YouTubed that, right?
you're not allowed to post clips.
But they have promotional clips, so you
Yeah.
can see kind of what it's like.
like a little.
Okay, yeah, I could probably look for that.
See the show, and basically that was in 2015 or 16.
16. I believe.
16. They contacted us the first time, and basically they needed masks made for the zombies.
Right.
That's our second sculpt for them.
Yeah.
And we've been doing maybe 5 different lots now.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
each mask is exactly the same sculpt, but what we do then is we use literally just paint and hair
To make them different.
To make it
them
different.
all
And then change them up. Okay.
more individual. Yeah. So that one was one of mine, and I went for a more of a possessed look, and
I know. I kind of got that vibe. I was like, wow, Reagan's really looking bad.
Yeah, I was inspired a lot by the Evil Dead films for that one.
That's mine.
That one's mine.
Yeah.
But we gave them all names as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that. Electric Sandra.
Yeah.
She sounds like she should be at like a disco or something.
I think the inspiration for the hair was definitely 80s.
Oh, there you go.
So that's why she's Electric Sandra. But yeah. And then
Now on this mask, are there like lenses in there? It almost looks like there's like a darker lens.
No. One of the things that we do, because they're worn by basically dancers.
Okay.
So the eye holes are actually cut quite large.
Mhm.
So large eye holes, and then we cut in places that you won't be able to really tell looking at it, to allow the dancers to breathe, etc. So usually there's a lot of holes around the mouth and the nose.
So as well,
Right.
once the mask is put on, obviously there's actors' eyes on there. So
Yeah. But for the photos, depending on what looks better, because the mask before had white eyes,
Yeah.
because she was possessed, that looked a bit better. This one's got just a normal blackout, because again, we're trying to take good photos to show the work, because we don't get to keep any of it.
yeah.
No.
We've got to
Right.
take photos. That's Ben's. Yeah, so with these ones, we tried. I think that's the last one we've made for them
It was.
so far.
Yeah.
And we tried to really have fun with the hair and the paint.
I was actually thinking like there was an SNL skit with Peter Dinklage where he had a kind of haircut and he was doing the what was that? He was singing some song. It was just bizarre.
Yeah, well, he turned out a bit bizarre. This one.
I mean, so this person used to have a mustache. Is that what it is?
Right, he used to have a mustache.
Split?
It's gone, bless him.
There you go. That's just a
They're all looking up to the future.
Yeah.
They're going to a place of stardom and fame.
There was I think it's this one on the far left, and I think I focused on it too. Oh, this one.
Yeah, she has a naughty name, but she was fun.
Oh,
Again,
yeah.
But she's got a good heart, maybe. No,
Yeah.
she does.
if there is one,
That's right, and she
or it
takes
used to be good.
so.
It was this one, I think. It was either this one. There's another one that's like it. That reminds me of. I don't know if you had seen. Was it Werner Herzog's Nosferatu?
Mhm.
In the beginning, it's in a labyrinth where there's like dead bodies,
Yes.
and just the teeth. There's a few of these masks that kind of remind me of the close-up shots.
Gritty and
Okay.
gruesome and dry.
Yeah, I mean, this one was mainly, we were looking at some photos of actual real human skulls and how
Right.
they decompose, and some of them have, they're hundreds of years old, but they still have their hairs on.
Yeah.
And one that we saw that still had her hair clip in, and
Mhm.
it was, I don't know, just the image of that one really stayed in my head. So then that one was kind of inspired by that picture, which we actually could never really find anymore,
No.
but it's in there. And now it's kind of a little bit here.
There you go. Yeah. And what was that one called? Do you remember?
Posh Elizabeth.
Oh, there you
I think it was this one that really got me here, because this is the one that really made me think of that the beginning of that film, the old German Nosferatu film from the 70s,
Yeah.
especially the teeth, because there's like a close up on one of these bodies that it just kind of has that similar look. It's got is it the lighting that I'm looking at that where it's really dark, or is that just the paint itself? It
So
kind of brings out that like an ominous look to it.
so basically, that's where I pretty much all I've done was I just cut the teeth out, so
Mhm.
that one, it gives a slightly different look, and two, it again it'll allow the dancers to breathe. But
Right.
this one just kind of in a sense shows the power of paint. So just by
Mhm.
changing a few things, I managed to give that one a bit more of a sympathetic look, with the eyes coming a bit more down like this.
Mhm. It's freaky. It's
Yeah.
very freaky. It makes me want to go see the show now.
Yeah.
Good, we've done all right then.
Can I just stop us for a second, because I think my laptop used up all the energy, so I'm just gonna go get the charger before
Okay.
you.
Well, you
Before we all get cut off.
I'll take Cat's place. Yeah, this one was called Mr. Hester, and basically in the Thriller music video, the original one,
Mhm.
one of my favorite zombies in the film was done by a special effects artist called Tom Hester. So I based the paint on this mask on his makeup from the original video, and
Right.
then in homage just named that one Mr. Hester.
I think that's in the back with the group photo, correct? 'Cause
Yeah.
it's a shame that I found the black and white one, and I don't recall seeing it color. But now the this one here I thought was interesting. What do you call this one?
He's called the Cid.
Okay.
And basically the idea for his name is that looking at the history of Halloween from many years ago, there was lots of beliefs that in the woods there were fairies and trolls and all these sort of creatures, and basically to sum all these creatures up, the druids called them Cids.
Okay.
That's where his name comes from.
Oh, that's awesome.
And
And
yeah,
there's a side shot. I really like where you can like see the veins
well,
around there. That is amazing. How do you put this on? Does it kind of open up in the back?
This one has got a bit of an interesting history because it was meant to be a makeup, so a series of prosthetics that are glued on someone's face, and that would
Right.
really move with your face. And then that didn't come to fruition, but we really liked the character. So one Halloween, I turned it into a mask, which this is a mask. So this is made of all the different pieces glued together, blended and painted.
Yeah, he's just.
I think I got a shot of. So it starts off like this.
So that
Yeah.
was the sculpt.
The
for
sculpt. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Wow.
And then it became a mask, and we liked it so much that we decided to resculpt, bring it to clay once again, do a few changes on things we thought could be better, and make it a latex mask.
Well, we had quite a lot of people asking for it as a mask to either collect or to wear for Halloween. So then that's what we've done, isn't it?
Yeah, we made it as a mask. And it gave us an idea for the next venture.
Yeah, interestingly, a venture that we want to go down to is there they are. So there's
a new version.
There's a new version.
Wow.
And then each one comes with a tag, and then within the tag is I believe it's a poem that I wrote actually.
Oh, okay.
The story of that character.
That's awesome.
And basically, we're going to call this the Origin series. And basically, the Origin series will be a series of masks that's completely our own design. Our own characters, our own design. So that's another venture that we want to go down.
Do you already have a name for the series?
Yeah, it's called the Origin series.
Oh, Origin. Okay. Yeah. I thought you were like using Origin, like it's the origin of what's going to be in the series.
So he's the Sid mask is number 1 of the Origin. Okay. We've got a really cool concept for the character number 2. And we have a notepad full of sketches for all other characters. So the first one of the series is the Sid mask.
More to come.
This
one's
pretty high in demand, right?
Well, we released 5, I believe it was 5 copies.
Mm-hmm.
But then ultimately what we've done is we've put a hold on that project so we can kind of push other projects ahead.
Oh, gotcha. Mm-hmm.
Because obviously I'm sure the girls said earlier that we're just so busy right now. So there's 5 of them in the wild, and then when we've caught up with things a little bit more, then we'll start producing more and then shipping them out. And Laura, what's this?
Now this is like a custom for a rock band, isn't it? It was like a.
Yeah, that was the lead singer.
I think I got a shot right there.
Oh, there
singer,
it is.
Guitar player. It's a really cool photo, and he wanted a mask that was kind of his own idea for his own character. Came to us and asked us to make the mask, and it turned out really cool. I mean, all the photos we've had are really cool.
It almost looks like the Punisher with fangs.
I guess so.
You know that symbol he's got on his shirt or his jacket? Yeah. That's pretty awesome. Do you get a lot of requests from musical bands on like masks for?
We had. Yeah, we once had one for a rapper.
Yeah,
we made a mask for a rapper, but I don't think we've got many photos of that one.
No.
And talking of that, we also we nearly had a band from the USA called Shinedown at the studio. Nearly.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they wanted to buy one of our masks, but unfortunately they told us literally, and basically there's an arena not far from here that they're playing at.
Mm-hmm.
And they wanted to buy one of our masks, but because we had literally, it was the next day, and we didn't have one ready, so we never did in the end, unfortunately.
Now this is a prosthetic, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And so it's like the head, and it's probably just pieces together.
Yeah, I think this one had in total with the cow on the head, it had at least 10 pieces to put together. It was a long one. It was for a demo at IMAX, which is the biggest international makeup show, I think, in the industry.
It kind of gives me the impression of like a pink xenomorph, just with the way things are working in the head.
We had a big Giga inspiration for it.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Yep.
The color was a bit accidental. It's not
Yes.
quite what we planned, but it's how it turned out, and it was really nice because it was very different. I think it turned out very different.
I kind of get a bit of a Giger and then like a Hellraiser.
Yes.
Yeah, a Cenobite in there
Yeah.
actually. Yeah.
Is that the same piece, or is that like a variation
It's the same
on
piece.
this one? Same piece. It's just not. It's just not pronounced from like the lighting. I guess it's you can see the color a little bit better in the head.
She had a shimmery layer on top, which was kind of make it look different in every photos.
Now, what's the scoop on this one? This looks like it actually came out of a film.
It's a little space monkey.
Yeah. Again, this was for another demonstration we did, and
Okay.
done basically Space Monkey was what we went for. So we went full out. So we made the helmet. We done you can just see it in the bottom there, a whole chest piece where you can see its ribs.
Yeah, I just noticed that actually, because
I
I'm so
believe-
focused on the face, and then I looked down. I was like, oh, you can see his ribs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Kat, you worked on the costume, didn't you?
I
The
did.
boots.
All
Yeah.
the weathering.
And we just went full out to make this as creepy and as head turning as we possibly could, and
Worked
it
quite well.
worked out really well actually. Yeah.
So this one's a prosthetic with the costume, right?
Yeah. And that was
Okay, I think I got another shot. There we go. The
there she-
eyes.
yeah.
Do you do your own contacts?
Not
No.
contact. So the eyes for the busts, definitely. But contacts, they
It's a
just
bit
have that
more-
medical
Yeah.
twist to them that we don't have. And there's a lot of safety that goes into it. So that's not something.
Okay, is that like somebody you work with that you recommend the person use contacts from?
No,
Or are they just kind of like if you're going to get your own contacts, that kind of thing?
Getting your own contacts is like this. We know enough to get good contacts and be able to put them in. But when it gets to film grade contacts,
It
that
has
has
to
to be sclera lenses, then it's good to have a technician and have someone who's basically trained. Just because there's so much that goes into it, and when an actor has to put them in and out, in and out, in and out, you want someone that can really advise you and take care of your eyes.
Mhm.
Right.
Avoid the risk.
That's good. Yep. Okay, this one here.
so
Let me guess. There's a story behind this one.
that
We briefly
Like, well-
mentioned that already, and if you remember at the beginning when we were talking about a few films we've done, this is the Make Do or Mend one, the 48 hours.
Okay, this is what. Okay. Now is this is a prosthetic?
it's
Yeah.
everything. It's everything that you can. So, but basically, this was literally, I guess, what you could call a garage makeup,
Gorilla.
a gorilla makeup almost. So basically, Kat sculpted the face portion, and then the rest literally were on set, and it was just a case of grab whatever we've got and let's just
Yeah.
see what we can quickly
But-
come up with, because we had
48 hours.
Not even
well
that.
not even
Yeah.
that, we had literally maybe 3 hours. The guy come
Well,
in,
yeah.
he come in, he sat on a chair, we bless him, we whacked that face on, and then there was lots of latex and
I mean,
bits of
even the
latex.
sculpt, we didn't never seen an actor before, so it was a bit like, okay.
And what is interesting with him though is the in the center of his head, there's actually we had a hose that would then went under the latex cap, so we could then pump some fake monster blood.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's awesome.
This was just before we went to film it. Obviously, he didn't have a scarf in the film, but
Yeah.
I thought maybe because it was cold out.
There's
So,
everything, even monsters get cold.
yeah.
After 48 hours of filming, pretty much, it was the last thing we shot because after that, the makeup was going to get all dirty. It was going to get covered in that blue blood that we
Yeah.
made.
Was it blue?
It was blue.
Blue.
And it was going to start gushing out of his head, God bless him. It was a bit.
We nicknamed that monster Steve for some
Yeah.
reason.
It was
Well, I
Steve.
think because
Steve.
the actor was called Steve.
Was it?
I think
Yeah.
There you go,
so.
that's
So
Steve.
he's Steve.
now the bottom teeth there that are exposed, are they actually in the actor's mouth? And is it like a veneer
No, these ones, I think, because we hadn't
part
met,
of the mask?
They were part of the
Yeah.
mask, but we do
Okay.
make our own teeth. But for that,
Yeah.
we need to meet the actor first.
Right. Let's see here. I'm gonna move on. This one.
That's
So
first makeup we did together.
that was basically
I know.
me and Laura got together because we were going. The project fell through, but we were going to work on a project together, and basically we joined forces at a Comic-Con, and we'd done a makeup demo there. And this was the first time me and Laura worked together, and that was the result from the makeup demo that we done.
And that was right on the Comic-Con?
Yeah, that was in Comic-Con, and I remember I had a microphone, a little headpiece with a microphone, and just on the floor below us there was they were doing a thing with Daniel Radcliffe, and the something happened, and basically every now and again downstairs they would hear me, and then we would hear me and Daniel Radcliffe had a little back and forth kind of thing going on. So that was funny.
That was good. Yeah, that was funny.
So yeah, that was literally just me and Laura working together. First time.
He didn't come rushing up where you guys were and try to use a spell to stop it, right?
No,
I think he was close.
Expelliarmus!
There was some frustration building at some point.
Yeah.
So wow. How back on this makeup, did you do the makeup right on during Comic-Con?
Yeah, it was in front. So basically, we had the actor sit on the chair,
Mm-hmm.
and I would just explain what the various materials are for makeup. So foam latex, silicone.
Were you applying it while you were discussing? And how long did that take?
We'd
It's all
done that.
prepped, right?
We'd done that in, I'd say, even an hour and a half, perhaps.
Yeah, hour and a half.
That's amazing.
Application, and it was unpainted, so we painted it
Right.
in front of everyone as well.
That's amazing.
Look happy there, but he was happy.
He was
with it,
happy.
wasn't he?
He was.
Now, would you consider this piece a mask? I'm guessing it's like an old person.
So yeah,
Was
this
that
was interesting. It was a project in Switzerland for a theater, and it was one actress that needed a mask of herself as she was for
Mhm.
something to wear during the show, and she then needed a mask of herself much older for her to wear during the theater show. So we had to make 2 silicone masks. It took a month to make 2 silicone masks from live cast of her and the other actress to finish painted with hair punched in one by one. It was quite an intense one, but it turned out really good, I think.
Yeah.
It was a nice set of masks, but a lot of work.
so it was for a stage.
It is one of the stages. It's quite unusual to have.
So I'm going to guess it was probably easier to take the mask off than to wear prosthetic.
So for theater, we would never really do prosthetics.
Okay.
I've done it once, and it was the maddest thing I've ever done because it needed to be done in 3 minutes. But when
Okay.
it's literally masks because they can just put
On
it on
and
and off. They don't
Right.
need
So it's a very so it's not so time consuming then.
exactly.
Right. That makes sense.
So it
And
takes
then,
a lot.
this one I think came from was it a film?
Yeah, so that's from Oaks or Soldier of War for America,
Mm-hmm.
mentioned before, and that's the main character that we
Bob.
created. It's called Bob.
Bob.
And that was a crazy project as well. We had 11 days from live cast to finish before it went on set. But it was really cool because it was shot in an old bunker.
Mm-hmm.
And,
I might have seen this.
Oh, if
I
you
might have
have,
seen this one. I'm gonna have to look back.
yeah.
Ah.
So
There you
we
go.
made a display piece just to show off the makeup
So,
later on.
yeah, and this film is a perfect example of how character design works in film. Is that first
Mhm.
we have a meeting with the producer and the director who would give us some ideas of what they want, and we would just kind of throw ideas back and forth. And then we go back to paper and we sketch some ideas, and it kind of evolves from there. And even when it's being sculpted, we can look at it as a sculpt and then change a few things. I know originally he wasn't supposed to have his skull showing, but I thought it would just make the cranium look.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
A bit
It
more.
does look awesome. Here, I forgot the name of the person they're supposed to be. I'm guessing it's from like New Orleans, maybe.
So we called her Mama Legba because there's
Okay,
the character Mama
Mama
Legba.
Legba. Okay, that's because it looks like the other one too. The male that has that kind of similar hat, and I can't even remember their name. Papa something.
To make a female version for a demo again. This one was two demos on two different people, so that was cool because we got to see the same makeup on different actors.
So this is the person that's getting the makeup and the prosthetic on.
Yeah. So we same like during that was HorrorCon. We spent half of the day applying it and then half of the day walking around, taking.
And so the end result
Yeah.
is like this. How long did that take to do?
It was a little bit longer. That's
Yeah,
probably
because
4 hours.
the more subtle the makeup, the more
Right.
difficult it is. And because this was actually quite subtle, so that there it is on another actress.
Okay, so it's second person. Yeah, okay, that makes sense because she does. You can see the difference in a little bit in the face.
Yeah.
Definitely. Wow, this actually looked like it came off of what is it, American Horror Story.
But
The first when I saw that, that's what I thought it was.
It's inspiration.
that was the inspiration. Yeah,
Yeah.
but interesting.
Oh, was it? Oh, wow, that is awesome.
On this one,
And then, oh, I'm sorry, click too fast. You want me to go back?
no, it's fine. It's just on that one we didn't do the white mottling for the skull shape, did
Yeah,
we?
we just
left
done
it
it a bit different. Left it as a
like that.
Right. That's awesome. Okay, and then there was here.
Okay, so yeah, that again, believe it or not, was for another demo, and
Okay.
that's literally was. I think he was a student, wasn't it? It looked
No, I think it was basically they wanted to do a film on sort of what it takes to make a film, and they contacted us to see the special effects side of things. And he asked, "Well, I'm let's say the journalist. Could you make me out into something, anything?" So like, yeah, cool. Come one afternoon, and we'll make you into a monkey.
and again, it was just using bits that we had laying around. It had teeth in the mouth, and I remember the teeth that morning. I took it out of something we already had, and then I put it in
the
that prosthetic. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I have that shot. I'm gonna guess this is the end result here.
Yeah, that was the end result.
How long did the makeups take for this
Oh,
one?
That one was, to be fair,
The hair looks like it would take quite a while.
no, it's the hair on that one. I think was quicker than
Oh,
Yeah,
actually,
Yeah, it wasn't
because
bad.
the hair literally was just well, it was kind of just quickly glued, and you could see we could probably, in hindsight, put a bit more hair around the jaw, perhaps.
mhm,
But again, as always with these things, time is a big factor. And
right. Yeah, hair around the jaw would have been really awesome too. You just kind of bring out a kind of a different
there's a lot of things
look to it.
in hindsight. We're like, oh, we could have done that, but when you're doing it, and there's usually someone behind like that. 30 minutes left.
Yeah.
15 minutes left.
You know, it sounds like those, what are those shows where they have like they're doing makeups and they're timed. You know,
Yeah.
you just got so much time to do it. Then if the judges like it, then you move on to the next level, whatever it is. I know they do that with the baking shows. It's one of my girlfriend likes watching those. You know, you just got so many time. Bakers, you've only got 30 minutes. You know.
It's not accurate for what goes on set for us. It's time.
it's very much like that.
Which is why the busts are something we really enjoy, because we don't have a timer.
That's it.
Yeah.
So,
You probably don't have the host of the show coming up and bothering you. You know, it's like, hey, you're in my way. You know.
I think on set one of the worst things for us is we would finish the makeup, and usually, to be fair, working on a film set, it's not as organized as people think. So usually we'd finish the makeup and we'd get everything looking nice, and then they'd break for lunch and give the actor lunch, which means then we need to then go back after lunch and then retouch the hip and
yeah.
etc. Before then we can send them to set.
So then there's the smaller detail. Oh, I can't really even say smaller. not full prosthetic, but then you have like something like in this image where you've got this slash going across this person's eye.
Yeah.
That's
The bigger it gets, actually,
It
the
is,
more
it
you
is,
realize
yeah.
how much it.
You
now
can
was this a demo or was this part of a film?
This one was really cool. It's
Or-
something that we done last year. We had a few workshops with a local theatre school where we kind of went and gave them makeup for their shows and their different practice, but also had them kind of learn what it takes, learn what it feels to have makeup on. So we work with different ages. These were the older girls. They were probably between 15 and 18. And we went down to like 5-year-old kids and, played with makeup, show them what it is like, what it takes, what it feels.
That's the really important thing is that especially for bigger makeups is to, if we can do a trial run, so then the actor gets a feel for what it's like having this rubber on their face, the weight, how it feels, how expressive it can be, maybe the hair. That's also really important as well, is that to make sure that the actors is as comfortable as they can be, so they can give the best performance.
Or for example, in this instance, losing an eye for a few hours. It looks fun. It looks like it won't be anything, but it actually is something to get used to.
Yeah.
And,
Right.
So it's stuff like that. It's important, and it's a bit of an education, I guess, for actors to know. It's not just fun. There's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah. We had one that was it this year or last year. This about
Oh,
last year, and it was quite a big gag. It was a cutthroat we done, and the
I
idea
gotta
was
say, I
the
think
throat
I
was
might have that image. I might have that
Cool,
image in
cool.
here. It might be in this list here. Now, is this like a scarring?
Yeah, that's a burnt scar, so something quite subtle.
Right.
Just to
Yeah, it kind of reminds me. I think it was that movie, The Caller, where the girl ends up getting scarred by like chicken grease or something,
Yeah.
and then you actually see it happening, and you could see it's something similar to this.
Yeah.
Like kind of like that one there. That looks like it hurts.
Yeah.
It does. I'd hate to touch it like, ow.
That's good.
And then I think this was a prosthetic just for the nose, her nose on this. Is that what it was?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
prosthetics is that they can just be small, they can be big.
It just blends so well.
Yeah, it's
I like this one here, this burned victim one. This was all makeups, right? There's no
well, it's a bit of both. The girl, the bigger adult, is someone in makeup.
and that's a doll next to her, right? I'd hate to think that was a real child.
That was definitely a real child, not children. But that was a big makeup, took quite a long time to do. And it's again one of them that when actors are cast, directors just say, yeah, you're just going to be burned and sit there. And that's when we have to come in and explain. It's actually really hard to sit for a very long time.
Oh, yeah. I
complete
can imagine.
makeup. There's a lot of health and safety that goes into that, especially when nearly the whole body is covered. It's a long makeup. She will have to stand up to have the makeup applied. So there's a lot that goes into it when
Oh yeah, and also
we do makeup.
with our job and being on set with an actor, we're more than just the people that put makeup on them. It's our duty to look after them. So we need to make sure that they're comfortable, that they're happy, especially when they have to lay on the floor, for example, like that for hour after hour, because it's easy for the crew, because they're so busy,
to treat them as a
kind of forget. Yeah. So it's our job
wow.
that they're comfortable, they're not too cold, they're not too warm.
They have a
want
drink, they have something to eat. You know.
Yeah.
At first, when I saw this, I thought this was a large prop.
No,
I
it's
didn't realize it was a makeup.
it's a real lady. She was a trooper. Bless her. That was
Wow. Huh. It's amazing. And then there's this cutthroat here. I think did that come from a video?
So that's for the music video, The Scarlet, from Diamond
Okay.
Black, which is one of the latest we did. And it's again with that director we've got a good relationship with, quite a lot with. The main makeup on this was this slit throat in the bath, bleeding very slowly. But the video It's really cool because it's got really gruesome element, but the video is very beautiful. It's a cool video.
And is this the same one, or is this a separate?
Another one. So that one was sometimes when the film gets done, either some elements weren't quite satisfactory, or the script has changed slightly, and they need to reshoot some elements.
Oh,
Special
yeah, I
effects
hear that happening.
of that. So for this one, we were called back to do 3 different effects.
Well, we weren't even called back.
No, we called in actually. Yeah.
Basically, another artist had done it, and the director wasn't too happy with their work, so then they called us in to
Correct it.
Yeah, well, just to reshoot a few scenes.
scenes.
And one of them was indeed a cut throat gag, and that was just, I can't remember, was that?
This one had stitches, didn't it?
It was stitched
Yes,
together.
and yeah, this one, the idea with this one is that it was supposed to be stitched, and then as the stitches are unplugged, then the wound starts to open again
and bleed.
And that's a nice little screenshot of that. Because sometimes with at least practical effects like that, you just have to pump your blood through the tube or whatever, and just whatever happens. So little moments like that, it's magic, and that's a lot of fun for us.
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't work, and sometimes it works
perfectly,
amazingly well. And that's a good example there.
And then here's veneers, I'm guessing.
Some teeth, yeah. So we can make some teeth for our makeup.
Do you remember who they were for?
These are Mama Legba.
So they're one of the makeups we were looking previously, the Mama Legba one.
And so you're using a dental acrylic?
For this one we're made with putty, which is sort of, once it's baked, turns into an acrylic putty. But we can also make it with a dental resin when we make a mold and pour it. There's different options available to us depending on how durable we want them.
Because I'd say back maybe 2014, I started doing fang smithing, where you're taking the molds and you're making the fangs and all that, and just gonna pop on there. So it had me interested on that because it looks a lot like the stuff I was doing. I think one of my sets that I had a hard time closing my mouth when it was like a full set of teeth. So I would just kind of only go as far as like, and that's it. And then you also do wigs.
Yes, we also do wigs.
So I'm gonna guess that like the hair for that what were we calling her?
So that
Mama Legba, is that how you pronounce it?
Mama Legba, yeah, that wasn't a big.
Oh, that was her real hair?
We got hair and we put them together into.
Okay.
And this is a wig where we basically make a net cap for an actor or an actress, and then we knot the hair kind of one by one, strand by strand, on the hair cap to create a head full of hair.
Right. And so there's like probably a demand more so on stage, the stage productions for these.
Film, there's a lot more wigs than people realize. Yeah, very often opportunity because film are shot for so long. It's easier to have a wig made for someone, and that way you don't have to tend for the hair at all. So there's actually a lot of wig work, and some of our best we've incorporated wig work as well for more realistic hairlines.
Now, you know that for I don't know how long it's been, I've been interested in the Regan bust. To add somewhere to this room, I'm really running out of room, and probably the closest I got is my animatronic that sits behind me. She's wearing her Artful Dodger hat right now. And the head that I've got there is like a foam cast up top. She's wearing just a Regan cap. But I'm trying to find a spot for your Captain Howdy. And of course, I've got all kinds of questions about that. I mean, I've got plenty of people that have been saying, hey, you've got to get this, you've got to buy this one. And then, and I've been really reluctant just on the shipping part, but I wanted to kind of cover what it takes to make the Captain Howdy, if that's okay. I know there's like the teeth. I'm sure all your busts start off with that, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
You do the teeth separate and set them in.
Yeah.
And then there's the eyes, and those
Right.
are all hand painted, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All hand.
It's just crazy looking at these because they look so real.
Thank you.
Thank you. No,
And like the veins, how do you do the veins? Is that like like almost like a string?
Well, yeah.
This is not a yes or no, right?
You're gonna have to get it.
It could be a combination of a few things.
I guess the could be answer will work. Could be.
could be.
So this is like initially it starts off like this for the Regan eye, I'm gonna guess. Now, is it hollow? Is this a hollow?
Well, this particular one, I believe it is hollow. Yes. The current.
What is the advantage of that? Instead of making them solid, they're like more of a hollow.
So, but basically, it was actually just after we first released Captain Howdy, and initially her eyes were to be painted on,
Mm-hmm.
and then we're like, all right, you know what? Let's see if we can make glass eyes. And then we started this venture of making our own glass eyes, which basically is a glass clear resin, acrylic resin.
So this is glass.
It's a glass clear acrylic resin.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Okay.
a resin that gives an impression of
Traditionally,
glass.
they're called glass eyes.
So
but
basically, I mean, and this really making these eyes, it really is an art form on its own. So we had to basically teach ourselves this really actually quite complex art form. And this one was from a few years ago when we were trying a few new things with molds, which would basically give the best result. And one of the things we tried is to have a hollow pupil to allow some of that clear resin to sit through in the molding process. It's quite a complicated process. So that was one of the things that we were trying to because a lot of what we do, it's really is just trial and error. You try it, see if it works.
yeah.
And having a hollow pupil was really kind of part of that experimental stage.
Okay. I would think that the iris itself would be really complicated. Is that paint? Is that how that works? Or is it like a stripping?
It's all basically, I mean, it's really credit to these two, and obviously Kat painted this one.
She's got her secrets. Oh, I won't get too deep into it then. Now, is this how the eyes start off? They're like on a dowel.
So they have pegs around again for the purpose of casting, and then it's removed. It's the waist part of the eye
that later gets cut off, but basically because once the eye itself is painted, it needs to go back in the mold with the clear resin, and that's where it gets its dome. And the pegs are just used to align the eye perfectly.
Oh, that's
there
the old
you go.
pegs.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
So you've got the eyes, and then you've got the mouth. Now, who's making the outer clothing? Is that
it's
brought in, or is that something that you hand do or sew yourself?
We have a seamstress.
It's not us that make the dresses. We're not.
Gotcha. I was curious because it's like, where are they getting that?
However, for this bust, so it's made to fit the Captain Howdy bust, and Kat. There was the first prototype, and then Kat.
This was the first
Gave
prototype.
some ideas. I don't like that. I like that. This is more accurate. This is less accurate. But it's made for that bust, so it would fit the bust perfectly.
So basically, Kat will source all the material, and sometimes even goes far to Kat will dye it, etc.
Yeah, I dye the
and then we send all the raw material to a seamstress.
Oh, okay.
Who has all the measurements and makes sure that it fits our Captain Howdy perfectly. She puts it all together, gets sent back to us, and then Kat will then do any other altercations, mainly with the colouring or the weathering of it. Give it a slight yellow tone in certain places.
Right.
So,
Have you been working with like one person or company for this
Yeah.
for a while?
Yeah. Just
And then now you got the heads without the hair, and then they're I guess they're hollow then. And then you just add the eyes come in from the back, I'm gonna guess.
yeah. Well, obviously because she is a little bit taller than most of our pieces we've done in the past. For example, Pennywise would get his eyes from kind of inserted from the bottom, but with her we realized we can't really reach from the bottom. We had to then insert the eyes from the top of the head.
From the neck maybe, or from the top of the head.
Yeah, and then she
Okay.
gets eyes, and then we can
How is that fastened? Is it still on the dowels where you kind of place them?
no
The dowels get
trimmed.
cut
Yeah.
off, and then we use an epoxy putty to help us put them into place, and then after that it's just a case of cleaning up and reinforcing it.
Okay. Wow. That's really amazing on that one. So I'm going to guess that she's probably about what, 3 feet tall. So you can expose, because I noticed that you wrote "help me" on the
That's right.
stomach or the lower abdomen on
Yeah.
some of these. If I can see it, here it is.
There we
Yeah.
go.
She kind of ends right about the torso.
That's right.
So with her, we wanted the help me thing was definite.
Yeah.
And one of the big part with her as to the size that took a lot of time before we even started sculpting was kind of defining what size is a 13-year-old girl and finding measurements and really finding that size that would say child,
Yeah.
you know, so that it
Oh,
would
yeah. She's only like 5'1" or something like that, if I remember.
a lot of adult other collectors have adult busts, so you know, and we didn't want her to look either too small or too big, or we wanted to get that child size.
So there was a lot of research went into how big the head is of a 12-year-old girl. Usually, the circumference of her waist and all that sort of stuff, just to get the most realistic size of Regan. And obviously, we came to a conclusion that she was a bit more of a petite.
She wasn't
So there was that to take into consideration as well. But at the same time, I wanted to make sure that as a piece, she has a presence. So when she's in a room, she's lost, because that was one of the things I think way back that I wasn't sure of, is that we had numerous castings of Regan's head.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things they're all different sizes, and I was like, well, one looks too big and the other one looks too small. So what size should it really be? And that was something I wanted to make sure we really got right for her. But while still, if you just can see, so she still stands out, you know. She's still,
definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I keep debating, you know. I'm still in that limbo stage, because right now it's more of a I've got no place for her, but I think I do. I think that's what I'm concerned about, like how tall she stands. I'm guessing, would you say about 3 feet?
She's about 70 centimeters. So
give me a sec. I'll get a tape measure. Give me a sec. We'll get this sorted once and for all.
Okay, here's another question. So the hair, is that the last thing that goes on?
Yeah, hair is one of the last things. After the hair is put on, there is a few little touch-ups with paint, just to see if there's anything missing, because hair adds quite a contrast to her face. So sometimes I'll look at it and be like, oh, that needs a bit more paint. But in general, yeah, the hair is the last thing.
Does she come with a base, or is it more like, say, to the one on the right?
Well, actually, originally we done her with a base that you can see in the middle. However, we got quite a lot of requests from some of our customers saying, like yourself, some of them were struggling to dedicate a lot of space to her. So
right.
It was more convenient for them to get the one without a base.
I think it's
as
also
well as
a lot of customers use the standard IKEA cases,
exactly,
or things like that. So we realized that she stands just as well without a base. So if someone wants her in a case, then we can make her without a base. So it's more a choice.
preference. Exactly. We make both with and without base, so it's really a preference.
Right. Yeah, I can see where there would be a little spacious if you did have that particular base. And if they came up with their own, that would probably benefit them.
Yeah.
What was the other question? Oh, how much does she weigh, would you say? Is that a heavy bust?
No, not as heavy as you think. And basically, the idea is, let me squeeze it again quick. Is the material that we use is basically a polyester laminated resin, which is what they make boats out of.
Mm-hmm.
It's incredibly strong and incredibly
Very,
light.
very light.
So, just an example, we had a mold, a mask mold it was a mold of a mask that was made out of this material, and we were done with it, so wanted to destroy it. I dropped it out of a 3-story window. I threw it out of a 3-story window into the car park. It bounced, and that was it. Barely a scratch. Barely a scratch.
Wow, that's encouraging, because that's one of my fears when it comes to shipping.
You won't
and that's always been a concern.
No, but I think because we now have many years of experience shipping all sorts of stuff, and our laminated resin pieces very, very, very rarely is there any problem, and none of them have ever broken or came with a hole through. Or
that's good to know. That is really good to know.
And they're made to be light. Because
that was actually my next question, was if you had ever shipped the Captain Howdy or even any of your busts, and supposedly they came to the person who ordered it, and it was broken. Because I honestly don't trust our postal system out here to handle things carefully.
We don't either.
No, we don't either.
That's why it's very well.
We've had, I would say, probably we probably get. I'm trying to. How long have we been doing Captain Howdy for?
4 years.
In 4 years, we've had one issue. And one with the.
Do you remember where it was sent?
To Spain.
It was Spain.
It wasn't that far.
We had no issues for United States or Canada, even Australia, Japan, and nothing. Yeah. So we just think it was a bit down to Spanish.
Again, because we've been shipping all sorts of stuff for years now. Then there is bound to be one incident, but every time we were able to pinpoint that it's been thrown out, it's been stepped on. Sometimes we had a clear shoe imprint or a clear shoe hole in the box. So it's usually a very, very rough handling. That's the problem. And it's never been the case that the bus was fragile.
No, which is why we do spend a lot of time to actually pack it. So even if someone was to step on the box, sadly, we'll have to take that into consideration. We try to make sure that even in that case, nothing will happen to the bust.
No. And anytime there's been any problems during postage or anything like that, we always offer for anything to be sent back, it'd be fixed, it'd be checked, new photos are taken, and it's sent again. And we've never had problems.
But ultimately, for us to have a problem with shipping like that is very, very rare.
We shipped about 95 Captain Howdy's right now, and there was only that one Spain.
That's a lot.
It wasn't a big damage at all, but since you asked, that was that one that was a bit. There was a little bit of damage to the base, but that was it. And then again, we offered to have it sent back and it's fixed, and that's
And just going back to the previous question, she is approximately 26 inches.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
Just over 2.
For some reason, I kept thinking she was a little bit taller than that.
About 6 inches.
That helps because that way you can kind of got an idea of how she's going to sit. So that really helps out.
You can put her into perspective.
She is.
Yes, she is.
There you go.
She almost sits like a figure. Like you put the hand in their back and she could start talking.
Yeah, so she's really not a bad size, and again we've made her so she is as accurate to the size of someone this age.
Right. That looks like, yeah, I would say so. That's right. She was sitting in the back. I didn't even think about that. Now, that one that you have in your hand, that's the one that doesn't have the vomit coming off the chin, right? Because I've got the image of the vomit, the one with the vomit on her chin. I'm gonna guess that. Oh, she does? Oh, she does. Okay, you're right. Okay. Obviously, you're right. You're holding it.
Because this particular customer, he wanted quite a bit of vomit on her dress, but not as much on the face. So
Right.
there's a little indication there that there is some vomit. Obviously, came out somewhere, but not too much as per his request.
So that's an option whether you want the vomit or not on it. And then I think we kind of covered the shipping. I'm not sure what's in these boxes here. And then you got your almost Jack Nicholson Pennywise sitting there.
No, we do. To be honest, we do spend a lot of time boxing things up, and we pride ourselves on being good packers. Good packers.
A lot of bubble wrap.
It does take a lot of time. Sometimes it's, we finish the bust and we really want to start making another one, but then usually it will take us a whole day just packing it because we really want to make sure it's safe.
Yeah.
So it's not
let me ask you this one. Back up a little bit and just say that I got a custom piece I would like to get done, right? That you haven't done. I don't know if you've done this before, but it kind of came up in conversation on whether there's been I'm going to show you here, a Reverend Cain from Poltergeist 2. Have you done a Reverend Cain before?
No.
Now this one, I've heard this one is scarier to a lot of people than a lot of the stuff that's out now.
Yeah, that one's very freaky looking.
It is a freaky one.
I love the expression on it on his face.
So that'll probably be the expression that people ask for. The teeth. I've always wondered about the actor's teeth. I don't know if he was actually wearing something in there to kind of offset his mouth a little bit.
I don't know
But with the hat and the jacket. How long would it take, say, from start to finish, to have something like that? You'd probably need images and kind of how does that work in a circumstance like that?
From start to finish.
Yeah, say okay, you get the order, and then whether or not you can do it. Say you said, oh, we'll do it, or I don't know how often you've ever had to turn anyone down.
I would say from start to finish, because again, with sculpting, it
would take quite a while.
A long time. But
yeah.
With sculpting, it's one of those things where sometimes things just come together, and you need to fight it a bit. But I would say from start to finish, you're probably looking at 10 to 12 months without.
Yeah, I can totally understand that.
Yeah, if we were not doing anything else.
Yeah, because obviously for us, we're juggling projects all the time. So
right. This one that you might consider using as I don't know if you build examples of your work. I know you said there's some for like displays that you kind of bring in and show as example. Would this be one that you could show as an example of your work, say like if you're at an event?
Yeah, it could. Yeah, if we made it, of course.
Yeah.
I'm curious if there's a demand for a Reverend Cain. I don't see him often, but I always hear about him being, spooky from back in the 80s when he came out. And I'm sure the actors probably passed away. I think he is, because I don't think he made the third film. They had to use someone else in makeup, I believe. But I think he's just being himself.
I think so, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
I'd probably put him up there with the tall man from Phantasm.
I just thought of him. Yeah, definitely.
He's one of his cult characters.
Yeah, because I'll do this my impression of him with my girlfriend. She just loses it. She's like, stop You know, he's got that voice that talks like, damn, you're gonna do this, and you're gonna do this with your face. That kind of thing. But back to Captain Howdy. Now, when you're making the say, like you get a bunch of orders for Captain Howdy, usually do you take it in bulk, like when you gather a lot of orders and then start working on that? Is that how that works, or?
So currently we have quite a few orders still for her. So at the moment, what we do when someone is interested in ordering any of our pieces, we take a £50 deposit.
Okay.
That's when our customer is put on a list, and then we just finish them in that order. So sometimes we'll do them in batches, sometimes we'll do them one by one. It really depends on what kind of work we have going around at the studio and what's more time efficient and best for us. But yeah, in essence, it's all going down one by one how customers ordered. So £50 is for deposit, and the rest is paid once the piece is finished. You see the photos, you're happy with it, and then it gets shipped.
When you see photos of like a few together, that's because they've been kind of worked to a certain point together. But as far as any piece being Captain Howdy or any other, we make sure that they each get their time alone, especially because they are customizable. So we don't have a template paint that will be on everything. They all, the masks, the bust, everything, they get that one-to-one attention because we want to make sure they're each just as good as they can be, and they're each done to whatever the customer has asked for this particular one.
It's very important to me that every single piece is unique and every single piece is different to the next one. And I feel that way they just, each one is an individual. That's how I like to treat them anyway. Is that sometimes, I need to do 6 at once, but I try to still treat each one as an individual to make sure they're all a little bit special, you know, and so you can't find any two that are alike. I think that's quite important.
Awesome. Have you ever had a customer say, I don't like how it looks? Can you change something? Is that never?
Well, we because basically as we're painting it, usually just before or during, we'll send a photo. Is it the direction you want? And they say yes. And then they'll say, okay, now can I have more purple on the eyes? So we'll do more purple on it. So
it's down to a preference. I don't think ever anyone was like, oh no, I don't like it. It was someone preferred something a bit more bloody, someone prefers it a bit more clean. So it's just down to preferences. Yeah.
Well, I think all the Captain Howdies I've seen look amazing.
Thank you. So
I'm not gonna be the one that's like, oh, it's not enough on that side, or whatever that goes on. But I'm certainly going to be looking into ordering that piece.
Yeah.
Like I said, I got a spot right here. By looking down on me. As long as she's not, as long as my animatronic doesn't have like jealousy issues or something like that.
You're gonna have to have a little talk with them.
Yeah, I do actually. I don't all the time, but she might say something on the Ouija board in the back or something like that.
You must have messages.
But is there like a deadline on a lot of these sculpts or busts? That you kind of say, like, okay, we're no longer making these for right now, that kind of thing. Does that ever happen?
There is time constraint. So if you, for example, if you place your order, we'll give you a block of time in which you.
Oh yeah, that works out.
And then it's up to us to make sure that we reach that. In the last few years, we've slipped a bit and we have a slight backlog, but we're still doing our best to make sure that we're keeping within target.
Communication is really important on that one.
Every 6 months or so. The backlog is slowly getting reduced and reduced. So yeah, you'll be given a date when you order. You'll be given a date.
That works.
And then it'll be up to us to make sure that we are able to deliver updates or the final piece on that date.
Well, I'll promise I won't bug you guys so much. Message you and say, is it done yet? Is it done yet? Is it done yet?
For everyone, as much as it is for us, that much it is for our customers. So it's, getting asked, is it done yet? It's usually coming from a good place because our customers are excited, and that's completely, well, it makes me happy.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, I appreciate your time. I'm gonna cut off our program here, and thanks for being on.
Yeah,
Oh, you're
thanks for having us.
welcome.
Thank you.